everybody. Welcome back to the Fisher Protocol, the show where calling the Who the greatest rock and roll band in the world is not subjective. Um, on the Fisher Protocol, we are going through our favorite albums by our favorite band, which is the Who. And today I got with me Tom. Hey, Tom.
How you doing there, Ethan?
Good, man. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
This is like my favorite time of the week, so
Right?
this is great. Hey, before we get started, I know we have some new people. If you're watching, please like, share, and subscribe. If you don't subscribe, like those thumbs up. Thumbs downs are bad. I don't know if this is the best album to do that with, but let's get into it. What year did this come out? Before I say the name of the record,
1982. Yeah.
1982. We're talking about the second non-Keith Moon album of the Who. We're talking about It's Hard. And I will try to avoid as much as I can saying how hard it was to listen to, and making those awesome Spinal Tap shit sandwich type puns. I don't think it's that bad. I definitely messaged you pretty heated in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
Like, this is not going to be an easy one.
Yeah. No. A statement from your son about Kiss, and that was that left a mark.
Well, it really made me think because I was listening to it and I was driving him, and he knows that I think Kiss is like the lowest common denominator. And I hope I didn't lose a bunch of people now just by saying that, but it is what it is. I'm not a fan of Kiss, and when I compare something to him and I say it's bad, he asked me, well, is it better or worse than Kiss? And it really made me think about It's Hard because I was really bagging on it at that time of the week.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not worse than Kiss.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Nowhere close. And I had to think about it. And you know what really turned me around on it? Listening to my vinyl copy.
Okay. Nice.
And this is something everybody knows that's probably listening to this, but it always seems news to me, is how much all the different releases have different mixes on them.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable.
And it's annoyingly unbelievable. The record sounded great, and I'll get into some disparities on the digital copies towards the end here, because I had to ask for help from a Who webpage because I was shocked by some of the discrepancies.
Oh wow.
Between like a CD version, the 1997 CD version I got, and as soon as I knew we were doing it, like an idiot, before checking my iTunes or anything else, I just bought it.
Right.
And I already had it, of course. Yeah. But they're different. There's different track times on it.
Oh, geez.
There's different mixes on it, even though it's the remastered. And even on iTunes, there's a misspelling.
Oh, wow.
But that's enough about me. What's your overall impression of It's Hard?
It's the good is good and the bad is really bad, which is fine. I had never really, I don't think I'd ever given it a solid listen where I sat down and listened to it for to pay attention to it. I think I've always listened to it as like background stuff, and then it's like, oh, Eminence Front, or you know what I mean? Like, that's the one song I know off the album, that kind of thing. So it was fun listening to it like critically for the first time, probably. Like I said, if I've listened to it before, it was just I'll throw it on when I'm in the car, and we'll this was probably 10 years ago. I had the CD, just pop it in the car, and it's playing on the way to work, that kind of thing. Where I'm listening to it in 20-minute bits. So I listened to this probably 15 or 20 times. Overall, I'm probably 3 or 4 times like straight through listen, with the headphones on, kind of thing. It's not as bad as people say, but it's not 5 stars like Rolling Stone said when it came out. So
what? Wow, 5 stars, huh? Wow, 5 stars. That's they're really not the best barometer of things. And we could go down the list. Something like Stupid, like they gave the song Layla 1 star. I don't know what it is.
Right.
They really have their head up whoever's hot at the moment.
Right.
and I believe I sent you a link where Butch Vig talked about who's next
Yeah,
and
yeah,
what an influential record that was for him. And I stopped reading those lists a long time ago, but it mentions in the Rolling Stone list that Who's Next is 77 on the greatest albums of all time. So
yeah.
I'm really glad that I didn't move forward with any of that stuff with Rolling Stone. I think it is fair to mention it's the second album without Keith Moon.
Yep.
I also think it's fair to mention that me and you are third or fourth generation, however many years you want to put it, Who fans. And this is the second album for second generation Who fans.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people out there that really like this record. It came out, you know, at a time for them when they were really into the Who, um, and and they love it. It's their endless wire, I'll say, for us, something like that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go into this knowing that there is love for this album. I'm
Yeah.
not saying there's not, and there's really good songs on it. I also like to point out always these are the Schecter years, you know, for Pete,
Yeah.
and this is also short haircut years for everybody.
Yeah.
And I did do some research. I did the first thing because I didn't have much to say about songs. I did research, and you know, they went. I don't know how much research you did reading. I definitely had to stop at the hypertext who at the who.net
Yeah.
through Odds and Sods, which has the best notes, obviously. And Pete went into it before they made the album saying, "What do you guys want me to sing about?"
Right.
Because I brought you songs for face dances and you didn't like them. So you tell me what you want. And they found out very quickly they didn't have anything in common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
So this is it sounds like a pure commercial record meant to try to cash in and give the band one last breath of life going into what they were going to be announced was their last tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's. I think a lot of the songs, and we'll obviously break it down, but I think a lot of the songs are just songs written to be songs that, you know, here you go, here's a song, here's an album. I don't know, there's not a lot of creative juices flying in there.
but you know, also I like to throw out this disclaimer. You know, I'm about to talk some smack about some songs, but I can't write songs.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you can't write songs, what do? You talk about them on the internet.
Yep.
Um, but I think it opens up pretty good actually. I like song number one. I like Athena.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, one of my favorite songs on the album, actually. Um,
Strong opener.
yeah, great. Yeah, and I think it's. I was trying to think of like albums and their first song, and it's up there as far as you know, maybe quality of song on the album. But yeah, I really enjoy Athena. Um, I love like Pete's vocal in the middle, the little breakdown. There's some oomph behind it, a little emotion, which is nice. Um, yeah, it's just a fun little guitar part, throughout the beginning. Yeah, great song. Um, I really enjoy this one.
I did read a bunch about how it's about bombs and war, but you know, doing the research, it's actually about a cocaine fueled night where he fell in love with the actress Teresa Russell for a night,
Yep.
and he changed the name to Athena to hide it. I don't know how I feel about the horns
Yeah.
because they're only when you say the word Athena do you hear the horns. Am I
Yeah.
right on that?
Yeah, I think so.
And last night, I think I sent you a video. I did some deep dive because I don't think I ever heard Athena live. Like even listening to it, like
Yeah.
even just being a Who going down a Who hole, I haven't really listened to it live. And I found some 1982 versions, and they do sound pretty dreadful. And that's based on it's an acoustic based song on the album,
Right.
and he was just doing electric on stage at the time. But Roger Daltrey did some really strong versions of it in the past couple years,
Yes.
with Simon Townsend and the band. And
And-
so, yeah.
Yeah, I'd read that they only played it 10 times on the 82 tour. So I think they knew how bad it was as well.
Yeah. And without those horns and the acoustic guitar, it just doesn't, I don't think it sounds great. And before we get into this, I just want to say that, I read another interview that Pete Townsend was recording a lot of this record. His main focus wasn't on songs, it was protecting his hearing.
Yeah.
And so that's why some things are muted as far as the Yaggerdang that he is known for.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, and I think that's, obviously it's going to reflect how you write and how you do things. If you can't, rock out and play hard, it's just inevitably going to feel, change the way you write your songs. Um,
Um, and into my first pun of the day about the next song. It's your turn.
all right, perfect. This one, yeah, it's all right. It's definitely it's a John Entwistle song. It sounds like it for sure. Um, I didn't have to look up that it was a John song. I knew he had some songs on this album, and when I heard this one, I was like, I bet you this is a John song. And then after listening through, I looked it up, and I was right. Um, it doesn't leave like a lasting impression on me. I do love John's bass playing on it, and that's going to be a reoccurring theme throughout this album. Um, he's kind of doing this high melody part, just this descending little scale thing. It kind of encapsulates John not being just a bass player who sticks on the low end of the neck and the low strings. Like he's playing all over the place, doing interesting things. But other than that, though, the song doesn't do much for me.
Um, yeah, me neither. And I'll have more to say about John when we get to what I think are the better songs
Yeah.
on the record. It's kind of a forgettable track,
Yep.
and it kind of leads into two of my like lower points of the album. Um, so yeah, and it's just another kind of symptom of where Pete Townsend was at the time because he wouldn't normally let, or the Who in general wouldn't let three John Entwistle songs on a Who album,
Right.
and there's three on this album. Um, yeah. So, hey man, I told you when we spoke this week I was going to let you take a lead on a lot of these because
Yeah.
it's very hard for. I listened to the album like 4 or 5 times,
Yeah.
and a couple of them were very difficult to like get through.
Yep.
Um, including some last night. And this is one of the songs that I really didn't like. Cooks County.
Yeah. That's easily, I think, maybe one of my least favorite songs on the album. Uh, Lyric structure, I hate it. Just like these kind of like repeated like lines. Uh, this is one. I think this is one of the few on the album that I just automatically skip almost. I had to like listen to it a couple times, and I was just like, oh god. And yeah, there's not much to say. Unfortunately, I don't like it.
And it seems like it's one of those things. Pete saw a story about how hard it is to live in the urban areas of Chicago, uh, where you get shot and taken to the hospital, and then they wait to see if you have a credit card or a insurance. And yeah, I don't,
Yeah, it's
if the next, it would be my worst song. It would be the song I don't like most on the album, except that right after it is a song called "It's Hard,"
this is
which is the
we're
real low
different on
point of
this
the
one.
album.
Unfortunately,
Huh?
we feel different on
Oh,
this one.
okay, good. You like "It's Hard"?
Um, to say I like it is maybe a stretch, but um, I enjoy the song more than you for sure. Uh, also, I don't know, for some reason it's really just got a brutal hook that I just cannot get out of my head when I hear it. Um, that doesn't mean it's a quality song, but man, I'll just be like at work, like chopping onions or something, and just being like, "It's hard, hard," very, very hard. Like it just gets stuck in my head for some reason. And like I said, that's not a sign of quality, but uh, it's just kind of funny. One of those like earworm things that just gets stuck in my head. And I enjoy it. It was the last new single from The Who until 2004. I love Roger's breakdown in the middle. Uh, the live version that's on the Spotify, like the digital uh, version of this album, I enjoy John's playing on it. I love his tone on it. So if I had to pick a version of it, obviously it's the live one, but Yeah, I don't know. It's not as bad as I think you say it is, but that's just me.
Um, I'll just say that the verse seems very nursery rhymey,
Yeah,
and the chorus feels very lazy.
yeah.
And when I get an earworm, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and I get an earworm from this song, but it's not a good one. Um, and I mean, I think it's devoid of any kind of. I believe he even said in an interview like I literally just got rid of some words and put very 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 hard in it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
I mean, I can see it like for me, like that. It's very, very, very hard thing. Like it's very a quick one while he's away. La la lies. That kind of thing. Like I don't think it's too far off some of the stuff they've done in the past where it's just a little goofy or um, I don't know, just kind of out there. But yeah, I mean, is it a lazy song? Yeah, I mean, I think the whole album's fairly lazy in general. But um, yeah, no, it's I like the song for some reason. And
okay.
apparently
So,
there's the riff is like a rip off Badlands from Bruce Springsteen. I didn't do the research on the Badlands part, but
well,
um,
that's interesting to me because I'm a Bruce fan.
yeah,
But it would make sense around the time, uh, just because of where Bruce was and where the Who were,
right,
and another like not great thing about this album is it's definitely made by a band who's trying to keep up with the sound of the day. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And even though he's originator, a pioneer of synth sound and pop music, Pete Townsend, that is, I think it went to a bad place here. And there's just lots of doublings of synth on guitars, and it doesn't sound great to me.
yeah.
Um, and then we get to the next John Entwistle song, which is Dangerous. How familiar are you with his solo album or song Too Late the Hero?
Love that.
Okay,
Love all of his solo stuff. I forgot it all.
right on. Um, I get big Too Late the Hero vibes
Yep.
from this song, and you can tell it comes after that album.
Yeah.
Um, so, beginning in the chorus, especially when it slows down, it's actually a really good Halloween song. But I think it's better than the last two for sure. Last two songs.
Yeah. No, I think it's one of the strongest songs on the album. Again, another one where I didn't have to look up that it was a John song. Uh, Immediately know it was him. Um, no, I think it's a good live song. It's good on the album. Um, just yeah, classic John Entwistle. I'm a huge fan. Like, I think he's so underrated, so unappreciated for his work in the Who and his solo stuff. I mean, his solo stuff's good enough to hang with anybody. Especially if you kind of look at any of the big bands and those guys' solo stuff, like it would crush Keith Richards or Mick Jagger or Robert Plant's solo stuff. So um, I think John just got unlucky being in the same band as Pete Townsend. But this is a great song.
Um, it's funny. I think we mentioned this before, like going into before Endless Wire, John passed away, obviously, but said he couldn't let Pete or Roger look at his songs anymore, which is kind of a sad commentary because I think they made some of his songs better.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Um, but that's another talk for another time.
yeah.
Before we get to the song, I just want to read a definition I looked up.
Okay.
Eminence, fame, or recognized superiority, especially within a particular sphere or profession. So, um, another name for this album could be Eminence Front and some other songs. Right,
Yeah.
right. Um, Big Who hit, great song, Eminence
Yeah.
Front
It's without a doubt it's the best song on the album. Yeah, blah 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 blah.
by
Um,
far,
yeah.
by far.
Oh yeah, no, it's not
Yeah.
even close. It's a song I always look forward to. When you go see him live, it's fun to let Pete kind of play lead guitar. I don't think it's something he's comfortable doing. I don't think he's ever been into playing lead. But this is a fun one to watch him to it's like watching somebody drive a really like a high end sports car who's only done it a couple times. Um, they either like have it under control and get it together, or it kind of goes off the road a little bit. Uh, and I don't know why Pete's like that, but I think his lead playing is like that. Sometimes, man, he nails it, and sometimes I'm like, ugh. But um, yeah, this is such a fun one to watch live. Great one on the album. John's playing. It's probably a minute and a half in, but once he gets going, man, that's good luck trying to figure out what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, they definitely turn him up there. I love the song. Right, it's every person who is not a Who fan's favorite Who song.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't sound like a typical Who song. It definitely is a sign of band is going down when they have their lead singer step back for like the biggest song on the album, and I think that's why. Um, Video recorded near us at
Yeah.
Largo, Maryland, at the Cap Center. It's very funny you say it's the funnest to mention live because one of my notes is it's kind of the song I've heard them fumble the most live.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it's one of those things where you notice and I notice, no one else notices.
Yeah.
I remember very specifically at Pimlico Raceway in 2006 or 2007 in the pit for this Virgin Music Festival. Like, there were like 4 screw ups within Eminence Front, right? But as a Who fan, you notice it. But as a Who fan, it makes it better for you.
Yep.
Yeah. And no one else seems to care. So,
Yeah, I don't think I mean, I've seen the Who, or iterations of the Who, or 10 times, 15 times. It's up there. It's quite a few. And like, I'm not going there to watch him play Won't Get Fooled Again perfect. Like,
no, no, no.
I'm
That's
there.
boring.
I am there every time to see that train, kind of wobbling on the track going down the mountain. And that can be fun. I'm sure those guys are frustrated when it doesn't work out well, but yeah, definitely this is one of those songs where well, I can't remember what show it was, but I remember them like starting it. Roger, somebody fucked up something, or Pete forgot to start the vocals, or it was just a shit show. And I was like, all right, perfect. I love it. And then, Pete gets angry and then he plays the guitar a different way. And
Totally.
it's a fun one. I love it.
Um, and I'll have one story about this and we'll move on because it's a great song and we both agree. Be careful when you buy those premium packages for one person at the tickets. Those are meant to be bought with 2 people. I bought a couple for Who Hits 50
Hmm.
for a single, and I was next to this guy in Philadelphia, and uh, during the song, he would take pictures. He would be loud and boisterous, which I don't care. It's a concert. But during this song, he kept screaming the white powder as loud as he could during the song. And it was the oddest thing.
Uh,
And he didn't have any, which was lame. Anyway,
uh,
uh, we go into like the best song on the album into I've Known No War.
yep.
What do you think?
Uh, this one, I think the first couple times I listened through, I was like, oh yeah, that's a good song. And then like I started doing some research on the album, and I kind of found some like reviews of this song, and this is their best or most important song since Won't Get Fooled Again. I can't remember who said that, but then I was like, all right, hold on, let me dissect this a little bit more and listen to it. Um, Definitely a good song, but for some reason it just doesn't stand out and catch your eye right away. And I feel bad when something of quality, or assumed quality, obviously it's all subjective, when something like that kind of slips by me. um, it's like, how did I not notice this was actually a pretty good song, or that kind of thing. So it doesn't punch you in the face like, like a proper hit maybe, uh, but it is a good song. I enjoy it.
I do like some of the breakdowns after the choruses,
Yeah.
the musical breakdowns, but it's really it's pretty forgettable for me.
Yeah.
Like, and that was the biggest problem I had. Like none of the other songs, except the ones I kind of knew already, except for one, which we'll get to, it stood out and was memorable, even upon the third or fourth listen.
Yeah.
Um, and then uh, "One Life Is Enough" is next,
Yeah.
and it's like let's take an album down a notch that doesn't need to be. That's already down a bunch of notches for me.
Yeah. I had very few words to say on this song other than just yawn. It just, yeah, the direction we were heading was not where we needed to go.
Um, but the a big highlight of this album for me, huge highlight, like I'm going to be adding it to Who playlist now for a while,
Yeah.
was one at a time.
Yeah.
John Entwistle song
Yep.
again. Great song, great old school manic type sounds he would make. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? Up and down the fretboard. Sometimes with these later Who songs, stuff along like Trick of the Light or this, I kind of get confused who they made sing, if it's Roger or John trying to sing like Roger.
Right.
This was one of those times.
Hmm.
Um, some people will say it's obvious. It really wasn't obvious to me. I think in the end it was John. Um,
Yeah, I would say John as well, but I definitely was like, what the hell? Yeah, for sure. I agree.
yeah, and they said he wrote the last verse 2 minutes before he went in the studio, so he never remembers it, which I didn't think mattered because they weren't performing it.
Right.
And this is one of the songs Pete said that he goes in and does his old Pete Townsend thing because that's what John requires on a song, but he loses another decibel going in, and
Right.
and all he was trying to do was protect his hearing. But I really like One at a Time.
Yeah, no, it's a sleeper on the album for sure. Um, again, just a tip of the cap to John. Just he just got stuck behind Pete Townsend. The greatest, one of the greatest songwriters in in rock. So, uh, but yeah, I love it. Good song.
Um, here's uh here's a song that I asked myself the same question while listening to this album. Why did I fall for that?
Yeah.
Um, I kind of like the end a little bit. This is one of the ones that had and I can guess I can get into it now. Uh, I no get away. Um, I had two versions of this digital CD. I had the 1997 remix version.
Hmm.
I think it was 97, right? And then I downloaded the iTunes one, and it had discrepancies all over the place. Uh, Dangerous, a completely different runtime, 15 seconds more
Oh wow.
on the 97 CD. One at a Time, 319 here, but 303 on the iTunes version. Why did I fall for that? Was 356. Um, yeah. Why did I fall for that? Was 356 on the CD in 1997, but on iTunes it's 325.
Oh wow.
So I went to the internet and I asked a Who group what's going on here, and this is from Ivory Rodriguez on the Odds and Sods page, and I'll just read it real quick.
Yep.
And he got it from Brian Katie's Who site on the Who.net. Basically, the former are clock out times of the remixed edition CD, 1997, erroneously marked here as 2010, where several songs were prolonged in the remix by longer fade outs. And the latter, the old mixes that were remastered possibly in 2010, incorrectly marked here as 1997 and used for the HD digital release. And then he has more to say about stage banter for the live tracks and why there's such big discrepancies in their runtimes.
Hmm.
It's little minutia, but it's really, really interesting. Why did I fall for that? It has a lot more outro on the 1997 CD than it does the 2010 um, bonus track version. It's just very odd to me, and I thought I would put that here because I have nothing to say about the song because I don't really like it.
Yep. No, I'm with you there. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, skip. Um, yeah, I mean across the board with the Who and their catalog, it just there's so many versions of every song. You couldn't possibly collect every album and every version of every song. Like it's just insane. Like just the
Yet
amount of
people
work it
try.
would take. Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, I just, ooh, yeah, this real dud of a song, unfortunately, on this album, but whatever.
uh, there's lots of shades of other solo albums on this album, and one of them is "I Really Wanted a Man and Is a Man" is really a dumbed down Slit Skirts.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
Slit Skirts is possibly one of my favorite Pete Townsend songs of all time.
Yep.
And "A Man Is a Man" is a dreadful song,
Yep.
and I'm not a fan of it. And that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah. No, just like we're limping towards the finish line here. Uh, you can tell this song was just something that was sitting in a closet somewhere, or the idea of it was sitting around somewhere, or got passed over on the last album. I didn't do much research on this song particularly, but yeah, it's a B side that should have just stayed on the shelf somewhere. I don't know. I think like you said, maybe a little lazy this album, and yeah, Pete probably is like, hey, this is a song I got. Let's give it a go or something, and everybody else just kind of like, oh, sure, whatever.
Yeah, takes two to tango, four to tango. Um, Before we go to the last song, I think it's insulting not to talk about Kenny Jones a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, in the history of the Who, he's the short end of the stick guy for sure. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, there's not too much to say though when it comes down to it. The drumming is neither here nor there on this album,
no,
and I don't think that's his fault. I don't think he had a say in anything. Um,
yeah. You're still the new guy. Like,
you're still the new guy, and when you come back, uh, um, and when they get back together, they don't even call you really. You know, I think a couple years ago they did help him out with one of his benefits,
good,
on a horse track like thing, like he's raising awareness for prostate cancer or something, and they just came back and they did a whole Who show with him as the drummer.
nice.
Yeah, so that was good, and you know,
Yeah, no,
but
he's. I don't know. At no point is he like driving a song, or he'd be great in ACDC. Just holding it down, locked in, kind of thing. Um, but I do wonder, and I haven't really listened to Face Dances in a long time either. I wonder if they're Pete and John's playing or songwriting, how much that's affected by not having Keith back there doing what Keith did. I look at something like Eminence Front, there's no way John can hold down that bass line if Keith's back there, struggling to hold it together. Like, um, so I think with Kenny back there, they could do a little bit more just because they had somebody in the band who was, keeping solid time. But yeah, it's if you were a fan of Keith Moon in the late '60s, Who, this is a huge departure, across the whole album. Uh, yeah, you
yeah,
went from this boat rocking in the ocean to like on a flat lake.
and to be fair, all that live stuff around this time, 79, 80, whatever. I mean, it kicked ass. There's some really good stuff,
Yeah,
especially around that the Riverfront Coliseum times, the shows they were doing. Some of that stuff on Who's Better, Who's Best, that DVD compilation, The Music Must Change, and everything there is just phenomenal stuff, and he's part of it. So,
yeah,
I don't want to take that away.
no,
Okay, so the last song on the album is a good song.
yeah,
It's "Cry If You Want." It's not a song I would know unless Roger Daltrey decided to put it back in the set list
yeah.
after many many years. What did you think of it?
Great song. I know the first time I probably had ever listened to it or heard it was one of those early shows, 2006 or whatever. I think they put it in. I have to go back and listen to the bootleg of that show, but it was either part of my generation or it was on its own. But yeah, great song, just a nice little jammer. Um, yeah, I'd only really had any kind of relationship with it from the live setting, so to hear it on the studio album was good, but it's going to pale in comparison to live. But that's just which one I heard first, unfortunately.
And even like the live one that's on the end of this, it just made me want to listen to like the 2000 whatever's
Yeah,
versions of it. But it does get killer there at the end, which shows that this band could do what they wanted to do, what they had to do when they had to do it, but they just weren't into doing it.
yeah,
And especially Pete just wasn't into doing it.
yeah. No, Pete looked like his soul was sucked out of his body on that '82 tour.
And he looked younger than he ever did. He looked like he was 20 years old,
Yeah,
but he just wasn't into it. But the Schecter sounded really good.
yeah,
So, with that, did you want to talk about the live tracks at all? I mean, the bass is pumped up. They sound
yeah.
good with the bass.
No, yeah. I
And
mean, I very rarely don't prefer the live stuff. Like it's hard live. I love, I enjoy that song way more than the album one for sure. Eminence Front, like I said, we already talked about that. Dangerous is a great one. Cry If You Want. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy all those versions more than the studio version. But that's just, you know, the studio can be stale for the Who sometimes. Um, the fun of the Who is live. So,
plus, I really think, I mean, for me anyway, I miss Rabbit on these live ones
mhm.
because he couldn't be there for some reason, the longtime keyboard player. Um, but that's all I have to say for It's Hard. I'm pretty stoked to move on to another Who album.
Yeah, no, this is. I appreciated the time and energy I put into it and listening to it. It filled the hole of knowledge and songs that I had in the catalog for sure. Like I don't even own it on vinyl. I don't think. Um, so I'd probably end up buying it just to kind of fill in the stuff I don't have. But yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I'm definitely ready to try something new.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
I'm worried it'll be Face Dances next.
I'm not worried it'll be Face Dances,
Yeah.
but I would like to go back. But we are leaving this up to fate.
Yeah.
Um,
No, definitely.
so I did watch the random when people stop watching this,
Uh-huh.
the few people that do watch it, and it's here when the album's over. So
Right.
that's good.
Good.
Let me do the share screen situation. All right, I took out the doubles. Okay.
Okay.
So we shouldn't have to do anything. Here we go.
I told you. I told you.
I went to the record store yesterday, and instead of looking around for new music, I went to the Who bin.
Uh-huh.
And since I knew some things that might have been coming up, I picked up a new copy on vinyl of Face Dances.
Yeah, I think I
Uh,
have this one. I think my parents gave it to me one year.
yeah. So we are doing this. We're going backwards in order
Yeah.
randomly. If you really want me to do a randomizer again, I will.
No. It's fine.
We
We'll do it.
should keep it up. So yeah, we're gonna do Face Dances next time. It's gonna be massive. Then we'll have to start putting the holiday show together. The
Yep.
Tommy Holiday show, the Tommy Holiday Extravaganza, which I have an
Yes.
idea for. Hopefully, we can do that live together.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But it definitely needs to be like, if possible, like between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that's possible.
We
Probably
can
is,
make
but
it
it has to
happen.
be at the time. So if you're watching this, I want to say thanks. I want to say goodbye. Like, subscribe, share. Thanks for coming, Tom.
Thanks. Always a pleasure.
All right.
Good one
Okay, so
today.
nice. Great
Cool.
shirt. I would get that tattooed on my face if I could.
Exactly.